Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and welcome to another Octopath Traveler 2 video. Today, we are going over CASTTI. Every day, I'm getting comments saying, please do CASTTI next. Please do CASTTI next. And you know what? It's finally time. So I suspect my next two videos, the ones covering Chet and whoever the last one is that I can't remember at the top of my head right now, Temenos, will probably get less views. But this one, I'm expecting you guys to show up. So we're going to talk about CASTTI today. Really quick before we jump into it, YouTube stuff. If you like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate that stuff. In fact, don't even like. I don't care. But if you comment, say something, say hi, and you subscribe, those are very cool things. If you're already subscribed, whatever. That's cool. Now, also, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to kind of remove the item section of these, I think. I'm just not going to... I don't have any, like, there's very late game specific items that I'm still discovering myself as I'm just now getting ready to enter into the post game. As you can see here, I have a ability here in this town to progress the next story, which so I don't accidentally activate it, we're gonna go to somewhere else. We're gonna go over here just so I don't accidentally like proc some sort of cutscene in the middle of this video. But also at the very end, we're gonna do a quick 5-minute summary. Not 5 minutes. We're gonna do a quick summary of everything I've said, and I'm gonna put a timestamp in the description down there. So if you want to hear what I think is good, it's going to be there, but you're not going to get much of the why. You'll get a little bit of the why, but not much in depth. So, CASTTI. Now, this character is going to be weird and very different from all the other ones because everything that I'm going to talk about jobs is going to be undermined by one simple fact, that she is probably the most powerful character in the game, and she has concoct. She has concoct. It's the absolute most broken, powerful ability, I would say, for the most part. Her latent power is kind of useless, but it's still very nice economy-wise, so you don't have to spend a bunch of money. But in reality, you don't really need to worry about her latent power until I mean, you should probably use it like in the early game, and even in the late game you can, but oh yeah, I'll take that, thank you. But it basically means so you don't need to buy 100 of each of these things that you constantly do. It's just a money saver, that's it. But what does concoct do? Should we start with that? Should we start with why concoct is so good, or should we go to the jobs first? I think we'll just do concoct first, and we'll do the jobs. We'll keep the structure, but keep in mind, it almost does not matter what job you put her, but we will also go over what I think is going to be the best. So let's take a look here. Let's get into a combat. And let's take a look at concoct, all right? Why is this so good? All right, so we care about the order, but this is fine no matter what happens. Go and defend. Everyone's just going to defend. You can go ahead and attack him. And so let's take a look here. Boost. So we're going to use the latent power. You don't have to, but to conserve ingredients, I'm going to. You can do whatever you want. We've kind of gone over this in other videos, but let's not even do the latent power. Let's just do a boost here. Concoct. All right. You could use these items that you buy throughout the game. You find them in shops all over the town. I don't have an exact guide for where you get all the best stuff, but this seems to be... I've beaten the game, essentially. I haven't done the post game, so I haven't really, but I've beaten the 8 main stories. These are all the items I found, so there's unlikely any other ones in the game other than these. If there are, they're going to be late game specific stuff or some really weird stuff in weird spots that I haven't found. But you have access to wind, light, and darkness damage, and you could basically do any combinations of these you want. You choose hazardous or medical. If you do hazardous, you could do like, all right, I want to do wind and light damage to a foe. Okay, that seems strong, but not insanely strong. And then I want to do this. You can combine 2 ingredients at 0 boost, and then every boost allows you to add an additional ingredient. And you're going to make a custom potion here. So you can reduce target's speed and evasion, reduce their attribute raise and effects, deal dark damage, reduce their critical rate, put them to sleep, extend status elements is actually really cool. Blind the target. And some of these, like some of these have different, I think it's the dual flower, has different effects at day or night. But then you could do the medical side. This is where I think she gets incredibly broken. The offensive concoct side is okay, but this side I think is nuts. HP, SP, BP, BP, boost points, right there. Raising physical attacks, reduce the likelihood of being targeted, nullifies status ailments, is actually really good. Raising elemental defense, moving action to the end of the turn, and restoring SP after an action. But here's why she's so good, all right? You do BP. This is if you have 2 BP on the first turn, which is very easy with the boost level. You do 2 pomegranate leaves, and you still have 2 boosts left. So you have these 2 down here. Diffusing serum, which makes it go from single ally to all allies. And then strengthening serum, which does exactly what you would expect. It makes it all. So now, and keep in mind that this is incredibly flexible. You can do whatever you want whenever you want. You don't need to do the BP, right? Let's say instead of doing, you don't need BP on your squad. You need to give them, maybe you want to give them just HP and SP, and this is without full boost. Now you could heal all allies HP by 200 and SP by 200, HP by 2000. Or if you want to just heal everyone's SP while also moving action to the first spot. Is that what the strengthening serum does? Yeah, to the end of the turn. So if you want to do, all right. I don't need the, I want some SP. I need to move action to the start of the turn. And now I can do that to all allies. Now all my allies have their action move to the first spot of the turn and recover SP, right? So the amount of flexibility in this ability is ridiculous. But what I'm usually doing is I'm using restore BP by 4 to all allies. Now all my allies, I forgot to use my latent power there, so I did use those ingredients, but it's fine. So now all my characters have all their juice, right? Now you can also go with her. If you have Agnia, you can do the Inventor. You can do something like a Tin Horn, and then you just fully recharge her latent power again. So now she has 2 turns in a row of full, and now she has an even stronger one than she did the first turn, right? So if you want to do it simple, you can even make it so all allies restore SP after performing an action, while also increasing their elemental defense, while also raising their physical attack, while also restoring BP, right? Like you could just do all this shit all the time. Like the support abilities of this are absolutely insane. And none of this is tied to any of the jobs in the game. This is just her passive concoct talent ability. It's just absolutely broken. So let's, you didn't kill that. What the heck? Don't worry, you got this. Forlorn Requiem. Deal ice-based damage to all foes and have a set chance to put them to sleep. Look at that.
Allow me.
Good night.
Who's next?
All these cool unique ice attacks on Hikari are badass. But there we go. All right, so that is, if you don't see how that's incredibly powerful, then I'm not sure what to tell you. That's like ridiculously OP. All right, so that out of the way, we will take a look at her actual job, but this is kind of it's not a mute point because you're going to use these sometimes, but like this is all worse than her concoctability in most situations. Maybe not literally all. Sometimes you might want her to break some shields, sometimes you might want her to do a thing, but let's kind of go over what she actually has. Starting with her skills here, she has 2 unique skills as the apothecary. She has Remedy. Grant a random ally 3 positive status effects. I don't really like this. You might be able to do this with the if the dancer gives this to you, maybe this will give all allies 3 random status effects, right? Like I don't know. It's like okay, it's like whatever. It can give you some really insane things. You might want to use this because it can give you Doters. I don't remember how to say this. Doters Charity, which is very good, but you can also just give Doters Charity to a character anyway, so I don't think it's that good. Also drastic measures, it's just a powerful axe attack. Once you get the ability to start hitting damage cap with characters, this is not very good because it hits once, but it might be good sometimes. It only gets rid of their status ailments and enfeebling effects, so it like removes their negative effects, which is not what you want to do. So overall, I would say this is a purely negative ability, although it could probably pretty easily carry you through the middle game. I think the idea is that you're poisoning the character and maybe someone else is doing like defense down, and then you're removing 2-3 effects. Like maybe it's at nighttime, you have Temenos on the team, right? And then on the very first turn, you're able to just smack something really, really hard. But I think that isn't really powerful. I think both these EX skills are kind of weak. Remedy is definitely the better one. I think there's some potential there, but I'm not in love with it. As for I actually don't remember what the support skills for the apothecary are. Let me look at these really quick. Grants a character immunity to enfeebling effects for 3 turns at the start of battle. I bet there's a fight that this is good, where the fight starts and it's like, ah, like everyone's blinded and everyone's silenced, like as like a part of a turn 1, or maybe the something like that. That could be good. Restores the equipping character's SP when breaking a foe. Raise the equipping character's max HP by 500. Oh my god. It restores 30% of the equipping character's HP and SP upon winning the battle. Okay, so these are all fucking terrible, but the preventative measures is decent in sometimes in some specific situations. So as far as what she's doing here as the apothecary, being able to heal or revive a single ally, I don't think it's very good. It's whatever. The thing is, it's 6 SP, and you already have items that do this better that you could buy. So this is just worse than an item. Icicle, it's just, this is typically going to be worse than a soulstone. Maybe not in every situation, but it's okay. It's not okay. It's pretty bad ability. Like, you almost will never use this, but sometimes there will be a thing that has ice weakness, and you don't want to use, if you can't, if this, for some reason, if they don't have any axe weakness and your concoct can't hit anything, then maybe once in 1,000 fights you'll want to use this ability. Rehabilitate, maybe one of the best abilities for her. Grant a single ally immunity to status ailments for 2 turns. This synergizes pretty well with the Dancer. If you have like Agni on the team, she could use the Dancer Divine skill to get you on this. That way you could rehabilitate everyone, so your whole team is immune to all status ailments for 2 turns. That is powerful. This is a skill you might want to use sometimes, for sure. Like, this is something that's just nice to have, even on a character that could heal it, because sometimes you want preventative things. Because, like, yeah, you could remove it all with her concoct, but if she's like petrified, she can't remove it with her concoct because she's petrified. Sweeping cleave, Poison axe, I like it. Poison does some damage. It's like, okay. Like, CASTTI has so, the thing is, CASTTI, this is worse on CASTTI than other characters because she has shit she wants to be doing. She has concoct. She could do way more powerful things all the time. She could even give it AoE at the bare minimum, no boost. She can give the whole team 1 BP a turn, including herself. And then the next turn she could do it plus 2 BP, then plus 3 BP. And then if she just does that every turn, like, she has things she wants to be doing besides Poison Axe. Replenish health. Again, it synergizes with the Dancer thing, but at that point, you're probably just wanting to play Agnia as the Dancer, or Agnia as the Apothecary. Replenishing health to everyone is not that good because it's the same as healing them, but it does heal proactively for multiple turns. But you can also restore everyone's BP or SP while healing them at the same time. So I don't think that's insane. Weak to poison. This makes enemies take a shield damage. So this basically says break 2 shields for 4 SP. It's too slow though, man. It's just too slow. It's too slow. Unless it increases damage, which I haven't noticed it increasing damage. I know it makes it so they have a poison weakness and they'll break shields. If there was a way to like if an enemy had 5 turns of poison on them and there was an attack that's like consume all stacks of poison immediately on an enemy, then this could be good, where you could break 5 shields in 1 attack after you build up the poison. That would be kind of cool. I don't believe anything like that exists. But Doter's Charity, I think I really underestimated how powerful this ability is. This ability is nuts. So this ability is so good. I love this ability, as you can tell. Extend the reach of single allies' items to affect all for 3 turns. So items are very powerful in this game. There are a lot of good items, like a lot. Between even just healing HP to everybody, healing SP to everybody, giving BP to everyone, massively restores. This is 4 BP to your whole party on an item. This is massively, so I don't think it quite fully fills the latent gauge, but it almost fully fills the latent gauge. Fully heal the HP and SP to all allies. Fully restore the BP to all allies and fills their latent power gauge. Fully heals HP, SP, and BP to all allies. Fully restores HP, SP, and BP to all allies and fills their latent power gauge, right? Like this kind of shit. Like you don't have very many of these, but like they're insanely powerful. Fully revives and fully restores HP of all allies. Revives and fully restores HP to all allies. This one already does all allies. So that's how good that is. But like all of a life can do the same thing, right? Curing all your allies of anything you want, giving them all the jerky, giving them all stats increases and stuff. It's just like, it's insane. The items are very powerful in this game, very powerful. So this is a skill that you're definitely going to want to be using even though you have, this is the only time I'm like, this ability might be better than Concoct, because you could put this on a character that's not her, and they could be a backup support, filling her late engage, so she can continue giving everyone BP and HP, and they can continue doing this kind of stuff back and forth. It's very powerful, but this is not something you do in normal fights. This is like super boss, very difficult. You only got to clear it once style of fight skill, I think. There's very few bosses I've ever fought where I want to use my resources heavily. And this is a heavy resource consumption skill because you then have to use items. It takes a turn, it takes 3 BP, and then it takes items after the fact. So you have to do a lot to make the skill good. But if you do this with the shaman, not the shaman, I always call it the shaman, the arcanist, right? Extend the reach of a single allies. No, you can't spread this with the arcanist. I was thinking because I thought it was self, but it's not. You could put this on a different ally, and there's no way to do a single ally's things to spread to everybody. However, you could put this on an ally and then have an arcanist make that permanent, I believe. That way their items always affect all party members for the rest of that fight. You could probably also do that. If you do that, you could probably also make them take 2 times a turn, right? So it's just an insane ability. All right, we're gonna move on, but that ability is definitely what makes, I think, the potential for an apothecary to be good in general, and also what she's good at it. So let's kind of go over, starting with the warrior here. You don't want to use a single one of these abilities fucking ever as CASTTI. Not once. Never once. If you think I want to use one of these abilities, there's something better you could be doing. She's a support character. If you use her to attack things, you're misusing the most powerful aspect of her entire kit. That's not to say she could be a very powerful physical attacker. She could be a very powerful elemental attacker. This is an RPG where any character can fulfill any role and do anything. But if you're looking at min-maxing, she has potentially the most powerful and uniquely flexible good skill in the game. You don't want this. You don't want anything on this kit for the most part, almost ever. Nothing's inherently synergistic with the apothecary. It's I like the warrior. I don't like the warrior on CASTTI. Cleric. I think cleric is better thing. I think cleric is insanely good, but I think you want cleric on someone else. You want to be able to get Alfred's blessing out a lot. And because I feel like Cassie's going to spend a lot of time giving other people BP and healing other people and giving them SP, you're not going to take the turn off to do the blessing. You might, like, you could take the turn off to do the blessing and give it to yourself, you know, something like that. But, and then she could always have 2 turns, but I don't feel like she really wants to put it on herself. So I feel like you'd rather have someone else put it on. Like, you have a secondary kind of backup-ish support that's also more of a damage dealer. You have them put it on your main damage dealer, and then that's kind of what you're gonna do. I haven't made a video about that, but like boss fighting teams. I gotta come up with like I'll do a video for boss fighting teams. Like, what are the 4 roles that I think are really important for a boss fighting team, and we'll go over that. I'm actually gonna write that down right now while we're recording. All right, and I'll give you guys a clue right now if you're watching this live. One of them is going to be main attacker. One of them is going to be backup support attacker, main support, and then SOS button. SOS button is the 4th role. Okay. Dancer. Yeah, it's true that the dancer's divine skill is incredibly good. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's better than the apothecary or the cleric one inherently. It is good, and then you have an entire kit you don't want to use. So no. Merchant. Yeah, the merchant's good, right? Donating BP is a fucking shit version of what she already does, essentially. The bounty is terrible for what she could already do. Hired help is very good. That hired help and rest are both good, but I don't think they're good enough to justify using. Action economy. Everything is action economy. There's a lot of things that are powerful in this game, right? There's a lot of powerful things you could do. You still only have a certain amount of action. So you don't want to, if this is powerful and this is like insanely powerful and this is really powerful, you only get to do one of them. You would rather do the insanely powerful thing most of the time because there's a finite number of actions per boss fight. You don't want to spend those actions doing weaker things. And I feel like a lot of abilities here, like you're not gonna like, there's not a situation I could think of where I would almost ever use Ember in a boss fight. I would use probably a fucking Soul Stone before I use Ember. Like, and I probably wouldn't even use a Soul Stone, but it's possible. Scholar, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. She's not here for a damage dealer. Thief, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't need any of this. You don't need any of this. None. This is equally as good as the other previous 5 jobs, essentially. This is having none equipped is equal to having a thief, scholar, merchant, dancer, or warrior equipped, besides the fact that you get stat boosts for those. And you do want survivability stat boosts, things like that. Hunter, a baiting orb is cool. You might want to have a hunter on your team, but you don't need to, because I think her concoct, like I said, has the ability to get rid of all negative effects on the enemies already. Conjurer, I think Conjurer has a potential here because it comes with a built-in SOS button, right? A built-in SOS button, and it's nice to have a couple redundancy in these SOS buttons. And it's divine skill you'll probably never use. But it has a built-in SOS button, and this is a class where the skills are usually bad enough where I don't really care that I don't use these. There might be like, if the good thing about the Conjurer is that you could take 1 turn off if an enemy has like a lightning weakness, and you could have all of your characters deal lightning damage. So this could essentially break 6 shields for 1 turn. All right, so that could be worth it for sure because it's very low investment. And then you go back to not using any of their skills again for multiple turns. You probably don't use Prayer Rain, maybe use Dance of Immunity at some point. So I think actually Conjurer might be in our top 3. Arcanist, I think Arcanist, yeah, is good. Like, I think Arcanist is incredibly good, but I don't think that you don't use Malice, you don't use Blessing, you probably don't use Hex. You might, but you probably don't. Hex is probably gonna be, you would use Hex if you were using it on a different character and you had her do her thing to debuff the enemy a bunch, and then you just keep it going. Seal of Diffusion is really what you're looking for here. I mean, Seal of Immortality is good, like, but again, you would rather have this on your, what I would call the SOS button character, a character that you really don't want to die, and if they do die, you have the chance to bring everybody back, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, reflected, like, yeah, I think really, like, what does she get as, where's Apothecary? I don't even remember what she fucking looks like normally. Here she goes, the blue outfit. Yeah, you get, no, it's single ally, doesn't work there. Nope, I don't think it works with any of her abilities, actually. So she is not an Arcanist. She is not built to be an Arcanist. You want someone that's going to use the Arcanist skills because they're very powerful. So don't put it on her because she's going to be too busy doing other stuff. Arms Master, literally no reason. You never want to do this. Yes, it's powerful. Yes, she could hit damage cap. I'm confident she's going to do it slightly worse than a few other characters while also then not using her very unique, only she could do incredibly powerful stuff. Inventor's good, but Inventor, we've talked about it. That's for Agnia. Don't give this to her. Give this to Agnia. If you have Agnia. If you don't have her on the team, and there is potential where you want to have an Arkar's Coil or something on a single character, it's like, it's good. I don't know. I'm just not sold that she is a good Inventor. But Inventor's a strong enough class, and if you don't have Agni on the team, then CASTTI is probably good as an Inventor. So, what are the top 3 here? What did I say? I think the top 3 are going to be Cleric, Apothecary. No, I think Cleric, Conjurer, and Inventor are the top 3 I would say for her. But again, this all comes to the point. Remember, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it matters that much. You care about Concoct. She has some potential outside of Concoct, but Concoct is so powerful that I don't know why you would use anything else. In at like 70% of turns, you're probably going to be using Concoct. And the other percent of turns, you're going to be using your other ability that lets people use items on everybody. Okay. So as far as support skills go, step ahead. Very good. Upgraded accessories, I don't think is super necessary, actually. This is for like more when I was farming with her and I just wanted her to be able to kill some shit. I think you want her to have like BP and adversary. Oddly enough, I don't normally use this ability. I think you also want her to have completely fills the character's latent power gauge. This is, again, if you're going to a boss fight and it's not a 2-stage boss fight that refills it in between battles, this is pointless. Also, her latent power is good for money. It's good for making sure you don't run out of resources, but it is just merely a nice thing to have. It's not actually increasing the strength of anything. It's merely a convenience. So I think full power you'd get rid of if you're going to a real boss fight. You could consider going preventative measures, but I think I would go with the merchant ability here, Hang Tough, to guarantee to live with 1 point. This might just be worse than the I like Hang Tough with BP. That way you go to the 1 HP and then you get the 2 BP back, and hopefully you don't just die. The boost start is actually pretty good. You want that extra BP at the start of combat. And if you want to have a full BP burst, you're right, you start the combat with 2, and combined with Step Ahead, you could defend and you go first on the next turn. And if you don't use the BP, you'll start that turn with 3 BP, so you could do a full boost. You could use a divine ability, anything like that. But you're going to typically want to give everyone 4 BP instead of doing that on her. But then you can also, like, actually, if you don't, you know, if you have to Step Ahead on one character, every character in your party gets the free BP at the start of the next turn. So it's very powerful to make sure you have one character with it, but you don't necessarily need a whole party with it if you want to focus more on in the fight damage instead of cheesing out a first turn. But I think it's good. I think boost start is also incredibly good on her because of just the way it goes. We want her BP to stay up so she can get cocked ×4, ×5 every single turn. I keep thinking my cast down there, but they're not. This is probably what I'd go with. Things to keep her alive, things to keep her BP up. Characters she's good with. Characters that like using BP. I would say if you have a character that wants to use BP, she's very good with them. All right, characters that you want to have use their abilities to the best of their ability. So I would say she works exceptionally well with characters like Particio, Hikari, Agnia, Throne, Achet, Temenos, and Oswald. So those would be the ones that I would consider combining her with. And then other than that, like I said, we're not really going over the items that much, but this is kind of the breakdown of what you would do with her. I would just keep her alive. You know, it might even be good to give her a she probably doesn't need the battle tested shield. Just give her like I actually wonder if giving her an evasion build is pretty viable, so she just avoids attacks, like the curse shield, combined with like whatever cursed armor, right? Things that give you a bunch of evasion, like here. I think that could be pretty good. Instead of like this stuff, just give her as much evasion as humanly possible. I think that could be pretty good. Also, if there are ways to give her extra BP and items that I'm not seeing or noticing right now, that could be very good as well. But that's it. That's simple as that. She just makes everyone else a better character. By giving up 1 slot to have a non-damage dealing character, you now have a character that can give everybody on the team more healing, more damage, more whatever they want. She does everything besides damage, and you can make her do damage, but why would you? Because she's so good already. And that's going to be it. So, in summary, what jobs do I think CASTTI is the best with? I think she is the best with the Conjurer. I think she is the best with the... What did I say? Remind me. No. Okay, I got it. She is best with the Conjurer. She is best with the Cleric. And she is best with the Inventor. Now, there is a caveat there where her job essentially most of the time will not matter. I think you could realistically select none for her and she would still be one of the strongest characters in the game as long as you have a team built around her. I don't think she's going to solo any content. She might be able to, but she's not a solo content kind of character. But still, I think that's that. And other than that, what else were we talking about? Potential good support skills. In summary, Concoct is so powerful. Those are the jobs you should use. If you care about using jobs, these are the support skills I liked. Boost Start, Hang Tough, BP and Adversary, a Step Ahead. And that is going to be it, guys. Thank you so much. Again, if you're just watching this little quick summary at the end and you want to hear the why, that's why I have a 30-minute video. If you want to hear the what, That's why I have a quick little 1-minute thing here at the end. That way you can just click and hear what I like and why I like it. That is all. Much love. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. Now, excuse me while I go destroy the late game and teach you guys how to do the same. Peace.